All right, yeah, we had another accident this year. Just starting off by riding down on the sidewalk. I forget when I'm on the sidewalk. It's a lot quicker for people that are walking on the sidewalks. I got to slow my speed down. I can't be like riding out there on the bike lane because people don't have time to recover. And right to says one lady was coming out the store and she didn't see me coming. And by the time I hit my brakes, which I need to tighten up on my brakes was loose. That's my fault. But she didn't look up. She was looking up at the car. She didn't look up and see that I was coming on the bike. And we met up. I had the brakes on. I slowed down. And then I just hit her lightly. But it was enough for her to fall. And she was an older lady. So I was really concerned about that. I still have been on the bike lane going the opposite way of traffic. But I said, I ain't got but a couple of blocks to go down to make a left. So instead of me being on the bike lanes, I'll take the sidewalk and make that left turn. Instead of getting all the way across the street to make that left. So I took my shortcut and hit somebody. And then, but she ran into the bike, but we met up. When she fell, I helped her back up, and she didn't hit her head. That was the main thing. She fell on her back towards her shoulder. So that was the main thing, but she hit that sidewalk. She went down. So that taught me a lesson. You got to be careful on these sidewalks. You got to slow it down, and you got to make sure your brakes are tight at all times. So that was the first incident I had coming home up there on that main street. But then I go down another main street, and this four-way stop, and this person was making a right turn, and I didn't know that person was behind me because they didn't blow their horn. But they gave me a good cuss out. They told me to get the blank out the streets, because I wasn't on the sidewalk on this smaller street, and it don't have bike lanes. So there you go. That's the difference between a street having bike lanes and not having bike lanes. You get on the sidewalk, if there's not a whole lot of houses, you're going to get some glass. So there ain't nobody cleaning up or nothing. So this particular street don't have a whole lot of houses on it. So I prefer to take this street, especially since they have repaved them. But I know when I get to the stop sign, I'm supposed to always surrender to the right-hand turn. But with nowhere to go to that right-hand turn, I didn't look back. I was looking to my left to see if there's anybody come on that four-way stop. Knowing if I'm at a stop sign, I'll look back because I know somebody behind me. I'll try to get out the way so they can make that right-hand turn. This time I was in the way, but because it was a four-way stop, it take about a minute to see whether somebody was coming or not, and they was kind of impatient in the back. But that goes to show you that you got to be up on what's happening at all times when you're on the bike, because you can easily hit somebody if you're on the sidewalk, especially me having this motor on the bike. Just let the motor, I forget, I get my speeds up to 10, 15 miles an hour, 10 to 20 miles an hour sometimes on the sidewalk, and that's a little too fast. So I have to come off that throttle a little bit and do 5 or 10 at the most, and then I have to keep my brakes tight. So that was on me for the brakes, and I seen it come, I just couldn't brake for it. I didn't have no horn, and you have your hand on the brake. I took my hand off the throttle, but it didn't work. We met up, but she didn't have it wasn't a big collision, it was just enough to throw her off balance. But she did fall. So I feel a little guilty about that, but I'm going to tighten these brakes up there for sure and keep them tight from now on. Can't get laid back and lazy about it. And you always got to be aware of your side ironies when you ride the bike, because that's the second incident I had coming on that same day. And the third one was the dog coming down the block on the loose. So I had to turn around and go the other way because it was a loose dog. And he see me on that bike and started heading my way. So I know I wouldn't have no speed if half my battery power was gone. I don't try to contest no dog. They can get their speeds up when they get to a full gallop. So I let the dog have the streets. I just went around the other way. So a lot of times you got to surrender those streets to the dogs and cars. There's a lot of competition out here when you're riding a bike. A lot more you got to be aware of when you're riding a bike than it is when you're driving in a car or riding a car, especially driving a car. So anyway, that's the update on that. I didn't get that in from the last time we talked. Today is the first day of March, Sunday. So I got the one bike ready to go. 2 of them ready to go. I got one more to do to get it ready to go. Then we'll be almost there. And one thing I have left to do is a 10-speed. So that's where we at, amigos. Time me say adios. I thought I'd throw that in there. That was on my mind. And it's time to say later, gator.